Hello there and welcome back to Build with the Boys. It's time for our weekly catch-up. Now, it has been forever since we did one of these because I got COVID and it sucked. I am finally testing negative now, but I've clearly still got the after effects of it, so I don't feel great, but he says coughing. But I'm over the worst of it now, so we are back to business as normal. So I apologise that the content on the channel's been a little bit spotty over the past 10 days, but I don't mind telling you, it kicked my ass. COVID absolutely kicked my ass. It was horrendous, but we're done now. I mean, it took 2.5 years for it to hit me, but it did. So let's have a chat. It's been a weird week. All in all, we have had some builds go up on the channel though. We have the medieval cannon from Roka go up on the channel, and I adore it. It's a really nice build, and I got it for an absolute steal. It was £4 on Amazon, because if you go to Amazon at the moment and you type in Roka or robot time in search, you'll see a lot of the models. They're about a year, maybe 2 years old. There seems to be a fire sale on, so there's a voucher attached to a lot of them. You hit the voucher at checkout and massive savings. We're talking 50, 60, 70% savings on a lot of these models, so you can pick up some absolute steals. So yeah, it was a really nice one. I mean, I've got it just here. I can show it to you. It's a gorgeous thing. So I avoided this one for ages. I've never really been into the weaponry things, but £4. I thought I can't not, and it's gorgeous. The build of this thing is lovely. It works. It fires ping pong balls. It's a gorgeous build. If you can get one of these, recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. And yeah, I recommend it a lot. Another one that we built on the channel this week was, I can show you. This has just gone up as well. This was the swing ride, and this thing is gorgeous. So we built the Roka swing ride, and I can show you this doing its thing. So we can kill the music. Isn't that lovely? It's a gorgeous build. It's a very clever build. You can see it's got two different types of rotation there. We've got the chaser lights going around the bottom. This thing's beautiful. It really is. Now, this is the first one in a collection of 4 of the... This is the first one in a collection of 4 of the magical amusement park rides. So that's the first one, which is the swing ride. Now, I got that because if you watch the earlier videos about our British holiday, the kids were obsessed with this ride. So I thought, you know, I'm gonna get one, I'm gonna make it, and that's what we did. But there are, as I said, there are 3 more coming. So the next one that is going to be available, it's available now through Roka's website, is the parachute drop. Now, I've been on parachute drop rides before. I don't really remember many of them being in the UK. I know Drayton Manor had one for the longest time. It was kind of one of their big ticket rides for a long time. And it's basically a little carriage will go up and then drop, and then the parachute would open on the way down. A very primitive version of a drop tower, but the one they've made is quite lovely, and it matches this kind of colour scheme. It matches this one perfectly, and the parachutes rise and drop in sequence. It's a gorgeous thing. What's unique about this one compared to the other ones that they've done is this isn't a clockwork model, which normally everything they do is clockwork. These aren't. These are electric motors. Now, it has me conflicted, because part of the appeal to Robot Time Roka was the fact that it was all mechanical, that it was all clockwork and wind up, and I like that. But that said, the beauty of this is that you can turn it on and it just goes. Whereas as opposed to the wind up, you'll get in 3 minutes maximum out of one of those, and you can't turn it off. Once you've wound it up, it's going. So I've got like the carousel, I've got the Ferris wheel. If I wind those up, that's it. They're going until they stop. Whereas these you can turn on, turn off as you choose. You can also turn the music on and off as you choose. So if you had all 4, you can have all 4 going without 4 different music boxes fighting against each other, which I think is quite nice. So parachute drop is next. They are teasing that the 3rd one's about to be released. Now, I know what the next 2 are. We're not supposed to, but I do. And they are the drop tower. I've not seen it, but I know it's a drop tower ride, so it will ascend and drop. And then the 4th one is Tilt-A-Whirl. Now, For those in the UK who's like, what the bloody hell's a tilt whirl? Americans know what a tilt whirl is. In the UK, you might not know what a tilt whirl is. It's what's known in the industry as a spin and puke ride. I used to work in the industry, so commonly flat rides are what their actual name is, but they're more affectionately known as spin and puke because that's exactly what they do. They spin and make you puke. It's the waltzers, essentially. It's slightly different from the waltzers, but ultimately it's that kind of, it's a flat ride that rotates and the cars spin. That's a tilt whirl basically, and then they kind of go on an angle. Tilt whirl. So I've not seen it. I'm sure it's going to look lovely. I've never built anything like that, like a tilt whirl. So I'm definitely interested in doing that one. I am going to get the other three in this set because I'd like them. I like the idea of having a little theme park going. So that's it. And as I've mentioned before, one of my ultimates in Partworks, if they were to do a Partwork roller coaster, I would be all over that. I don't care what roller coaster it is, but if they could do one each week, you get a piece of track or some footers or the cars, and you could build a working roller coaster. Man, I would be all over that. I'm sure a lot of us would. But which one? Which one would be a good one? Let me know if you'd be interested in doing a roller coaster. What would be the ultimate roller coaster to build? Because then you've got your kind of elements to it as well. You can do it as a wooden model, and you can do a wooden roller coaster. If that was the case, I want to do the Coney Island Cyclone. It's one of the oldest roller coasters in the world. But if I could build a wooden Coney Island Cyclone that works, man, that'd be gorgeous. Or a classic. I'd like to build a corkscrew. The old Alton Towers corkscrew. Wouldn't that be nice? If you get a license with Alton Towers, that old yellow corkscrew, that'd be gorgeous. That'd be really nice. Would you be interested in doing that? Let me know. That'd be great. Because as far as I'm aware, I'm the only person who wants to do this, but I think that would be awesome. I think a working Partwork roller coaster, man, I'd be all over it. Talking of Partworks, new things coming out in the world of Partworks. So the one that I've been telling you about for a while has now been revealed. Agora have now unleashed their Optimus Prime on the world. That's going to be available from February, but you can pre-order it now. Now, it is not the one that was trialled in France, which was based on movie Optimus Prime. This is based on Gen 1 Optimus Prime, and I don't know how I feel about it, but this is what it looks like. That's it. Now, it's massive, right? I mean, this thing is huge. You can go to Agora's website, and it's all on there at the moment for pre-order and tell you all about it. Um, it's not for me. It's not for me. So, this is the strange thing. When I first heard they were doing Optimus Prime and thought it was the movie one, it had limited appeal to me. And I thought, oh, God, I wish I'd done the Gen 1. Now, having seen that Gen 1, not so much. And my issue with it is this. There are better versions of it. That's kind of where I am. I get that you get to build this one, but there are better versions of a Gen 1 Optimus Prime. You can get the all singing, all dancing Optimus Prime that transforms on its own for less than what that model will cost you to build. There was an Optimus Prime, I think it was $800, but I mean, you could literally give it a voice command. You could say Prime transform, and the truck would on its own transform. It was insane. It had so many servo motors in it. It was bloody impressive, but it costs less than what that one costs. If I had to buy one, I'd buy that one. I just would. For me, it's just not there. There are better versions of Optimus Prime than that one. I think it looks too much like a toy. I mean, it's based on a toy, so it's gonna look like a toy. But I think that one just looks, I don't know. It looks like there's a severe lack of detail for a model, and I think that's my issue with it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to like it, and again, I don't have that great an affection for Transformers, that it's not for me. I genuinely would rather do the movie one that was trialled in France than that one, because there just seems to be a lot more going on with it. I know for it's a weird one. For purists, that's the one. That's Gen 1 Optimus Prime, but I don't like it. It's not one I'll be doing. It just doesn't appeal. It doesn't. Another one, this is really weird, but this is one that's currently being trialled in France. Who saw this coming? No one. But this is currently being trialled in France. E.T. Who'd have thunk it? That's weird. It's weird. But I kind of like it. I gotta be honest. I think it's kind of cool. But I never saw that coming. I mean, that's an out of nowhere. Would I do it? I don't know. I'd have to have more of a look at it. But he's 63 centimeters high, so he's a good size. I mean, he's bigger than Iron Man, but he isn't as big as your Alien or your Terminator. But he's big. I mean, it does a lot as well. You can see that the eyes move, the neck itself extends, the finger lights up, the heart lights up, it talks, it does a lot of things. It's just a bit odd. It's just a bit of a weird one. And I don't know how popular that's going to be. That one's got me kind of flummoxed because I'm thinking I don't know if people can be all over that or if they're going to hate it. I don't know. I mean, again, E.T. is sci-fi. It's one of the biggest sci-fi films of all time. But it's one of those, it's kind of forgotten sci-fi. It gets lumped into the sort of family movie thing. So when you talk sci-fi, no one ever brings up E.T. You're talking sci-fi, people are bringing up Star Wars and Star Trek and Predator and Aliens. And, that's what that's what gets brought up. No one goes, oh, E.T. and throws him into the mix. Doesn't happen. But the reality of it is, as sci-fi movies go, E.T.'s bloody fantastic. It really is. Everything, the set design on it is Spielberg at his best. It's an absolute classic. As the design of the actual E.T. goes, it's superb. I mean, it's fantastic. The ship is amazing. World of Wayne built a scratch build ET ship, and it's incredible. It's absolutely amazing. Go check his channel out, and you can see it. I would have liked to build the ship. ET himself, I don't know, because where am I going to put that? I mean, that's the thing. It's just a bit of a weird build. I just find that very odd. But I don't know. I kind of feel like I might want to do it. It's a really weird one. I don't know why. E.T., funnily enough, was the very first movie I went to see. I was, I believe, 3 years old. Now, you're not going to believe me, but I do remember going to see E.T. I do have a very weird condition where I don't really forget anything. I remember everything. It's not eidetic memory. It's something very similar. I don't forget anything. So I remember quite a lot of things a lot of people wouldn't. And I do remember E.T. I remember my brother screaming at the bit where Gertie is screaming at E.T. and they're screaming at each other. I remember my brother, who would have been 5 at the time, screaming and getting upset. And I remember sitting on my mother's lap and watching it. It's really weird, but it is one of my earliest memories. So I do have an affection for E.T. So I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to see more of it. I'll have to see more of the trial and more of the build and make a decision. But what comes next, I don't know, because we are coming to an end of some of these. So Iron Man's got up on the channel this week. That puts us at 86 of Iron Man now. So we've only got 14 parts left to go to Iron Man. Now, he's actually finished 97. So the very last pack that we do, he's already built. We get a pack in January, which is just some abdomen parts, because he's got twisted abdomen, so you can pose them in different ways. But the actual Iron Man is built at 97. So he's very nearly coming to an end. So he will be coming to an end in December. I have literally just received pack 10 of the Rootmaster. So Rootmaster will come to an end in November. So I've got Rootmaster in November. I've got Iron Man ended in December. Ecto 1, for all intents and purposes, is finished. But we'll come to that in a minute. So I've got 3 that are finishing or have finished at the moment, and they will need replacing because it's my hobby. This is what I do. So I'm stuck at the moment about what I'm going to do because there's so many I want to do, which is weird. I mean, the part work industry really has boomed over the past couple of years. I think particularly with lockdown, that the amount of choice that we've got now is ridiculous. I don't ever remember it being like this. I've done part works for years. I mean, the very first one I did, the company's name escapes me, but it was a T-Rex, and I think I was 12 at the time. But you could get the bones each week, and it made a glow-in-the-dark skeleton. It wasn't anything in depth, but that was kind of that wasn't the very first one. Before that, I used to collect a thing called Quest, I don't know who remembers Quest if they're that of their age, but it was like a science thing, and every week an issue would come out, and you'd get inside there, you'd get cardboard models, which you'd sort of cut out and build. And Quest was my very first part work, but then I did the dinosaur, and after you built the skeleton, you could get the skin for him as well. I think they did one that I didn't build. They did one of a tarantula as well. I never built that, but I've never known so many. It's insane how much choice there is at the moment on partwork models, and that makes life hard because you can't do them all. Well, you can, but it's you have to be sensible with your budget. And speaking of which, I mean, with times getting harder, don't ever get yourself into debt over a model. That's insane. That's insane. This is something that you do for fun, and if that fun is a financial burden, well, it's not fun anymore, is it? So you know, it's never be ashamed to pull the plug on something because the bills are more important than building, you know, a model car. So you have to be selective. And I mean, I've got my budget and I know what I can afford to do, and I'm sensible with it. And I'm fortunate enough that I earn good enough money that I can do the ones that I do. But again, I mean, I'm not going to build something for the sake of building it, but there's so many at the moment that I'd like to do. So I mean, ones that haven't been released yet, but are potentially going to be released are the Infinity Gauntlet. We're definitely doing that one if that one comes out. The Batman Tumbler. There is the large-scale Batman figure. There is the Alien. There's E.T. has just been thrown into the mix. 2 versions of Optimus Prime. There's a truck as well. I can show you this truck. There's that truck as well that's being trialed at the moment. And then there's the Starsky and Hutch car. There's potentially the Hogwarts Express. They just keep coming, man. They just keep coming. There's RoboCop. The Millennium Falcon apparently is going to be re-released at Fan Home. There are ones that are currently on the market that I'm not doing at the moment. There's the Rossi bike. There is the VW Samba van. There is the Citroen 2CV. There's so many. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So choosing the Knight Rider, I'm not doing that. Choosing which ones to do is tough. It's really tough. So I like to keep some variety. I mean, that's ultimately where I'd like to be. I've no interest in building another ship. I'm building the Titanic at the moment. I just want to build one ship. So I don't want 2 ships on the go at once. It's like, I mean, ideally, the way I'd like it is I'd like a car build, a unique build, maybe a figure, possibly a plane. Speaking of planes, the one I've forgotten about, I've got to mention because this thing is beautiful. If you haven't seen it yet, Hachette are doing a trial at the moment of the Lancaster bomber. And my God, is this thing beautiful. Take a look. Beautiful, right? So that's the Lancaster bomber. Now that is one that I am 110% doing. There's no 2 ways about it. It's huge, huge. I mean, it's got a wingspan of a meter, which is massive, which means realistically you are going to need a square meter to display this thing. Based on that display stand that comes with it, you'd need a square meter to put this thing. So it's huge, but I don't care, man. I'll find the space. The Lancaster bomber is a thing of beauty, and I will 100% be building that. It's gorgeous as well if you see the video of it running. Even the sequence, the propeller sequence, all the propellers start in the sequence that they did, because they didn't all start at once. They started one after the other, and the sequence works correctly. The bomb spins. It's gorgeous. There's already been a couple of naysayers about that's not accurate. It is accurate. The main criticism is that it doesn't have 2 pilot seats. Lancaster bombers didn't. did not have two pilot seats. I've been in a Lancaster bomber, and I can tell you, they don't have two pilot seats. They've got one pilot seat, and right next to the pilot seat is a little fold-down seat that would scare the living crap out of you. If you were in Lancaster bomber sat on this little fold-down seat, I'd be slightly terrified. I'd want to be strapped into something. But there is a little fold-down seat, like a dolly seat, that the flight engineer would sit on. So they were single pilot. I think what it is a lot of imagery always appears that there's two guys in the cockpit, and there are, but the guy next to the pilot was sat slightly back, and again was just on a fold-down seat. So the pilot would get in, the seat would fold down, the guy would come and sit on the seat. That's the way it works. Now, if you look at the model pictures, you can see the fold-up seat is there. It's just folded up. But American bombers had dual pilots. Lancaster didn't. One pilot, fold-down seat. Trust me, you can go Google it, go wherever you want, but I've been in one. I've seen it. It's got one pilot seat. It doesn't have two. But it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing, and it's 100%. If that goes to a full run, there's no, I don't care what I'm in the middle of doing. I don't care when it comes out. I'll find budget for it. I will 100% be building the Lancaster bomber. Leaving me space for two more to cover Route Master and Iron Man when they're finished. So I don't know what two of those are going to be. I really don't. I think what I'm literally going to have to do, I think I'm going to have to get some of the trial parts and just sort of see what I enjoy building, because there's so many I'd like to build. There are some that just lift straight out for me that I've no interest in. I'm not doing the Rossi bike. It's not for me. The Starsky and Hutch Gran Torino, if that gets released here, which I don't know. No, I don't think I would do it. Robocop I'm not doing. I've no interest in Robocop at all. None. It looks too much like Iron Man, and I haven't particularly enjoyed building Iron Man. So that's an easy no for me. I love Robocop, I do, but no. Alien. I wanted to do it. I was kind of all in on Alien, and Jack wants to build the Alien, so possibly we'll be doing the Alien. What puts me off the Alien is that skin. Pissing around with super glue in that skin and super gluing in magnets, and the appeal's not there. That skin is never going to hold up. It just isn't. And I think I'm going to spend years just constantly reapplying the skin and repairing the skin and putting the skin back on. But Jack wants to do it. And when R2-D2 ends, maybe, because it's Jack's pick. So the Infinity Gauntlet, we will be doing that, and that's Oscar's pick. That's what he wants to do. So Jack gets a pick as well. If Jack chooses the Alien, we're doing the Alien. I wouldn't personally choose the Alien, because I think, like I said, it's just going to be more of a pain in the ass than it's worth. But if he wants to do it, we're doing it. It's that simple. We are building with the boys, and I build with the boys. Speaking of which, my eldest, Oscar, puts into a blind panic on Friday evening when he didn't come out of school. And I get a phone call from my wife. Has Oscar phoned you? No. He's not come out of school. So he 20 minutes, he hasn't come out. All the other kids come out, the normal kids come. My wife goes to reception. No, he's not here. So we go into a blind panic to the point where we're going to start phoning the police because our kids just disappeared from school. Turns out, Oscar was in the school. He'd gone to an after-school club that he found out about 15 minutes before the bell, and didn't think to tell his mother or me that he was going to the after-school club. And he'd gone to Warhammer Club, which was a relief. Okay, so we were very panicked, but then relieved that what he was doing was something fairly innocent, but we were very annoyed he didn't tell us. However, we've embraced it. So yesterday, I took him to the Warhammer store that we have in our city centre, and the staff was so nice to him. He got to paint his first miniature. They gave both of the boys a miniature each, and they got to sit there and paint. It was lovely. I painted one as well. We got to sit there and paint miniatures. And they gave him a good introduction to the game and things like that. And we picked up some starter sets. So the kid got himself a Warhammer starter set. So I bought him his paints. I'm like, well, we'll get you going, because I think what a lovely thing to to be into, and he's really, really into it. And the school itself, so many kids have signed up for this. And it was nice to hear, and from talking to the guy in the store, he said about they had a fairly vibrant community before the pandemic. And then the pandemic hit, and because they couldn't go and, game in store and things like that, a lot of it dropped off. And they said that since then, the kind of younger ones aren't really there anymore, and any of the clubs are gone. So they're trying what they can do to bring people back. So Warhammer have got a program they're doing with schools where they're giving miniatures to schools for after school clubs. They can paint and they can learn and they can, what a lovely thing. So they're really enjoying it and they're really into it. It's bloody expensive, but all our hobbies always are, aren't they? But he's really enjoying it, so he gets to come in here. And this room originally was built as a homework room. That's what we started off as, until it became our kind of model sanctuary in my office when the world changed. But it's he gets to come in here and he can sit down, and we've got all his paints lined up here, and he can paint his Marines and his Necrons, and what a gorgeous thing. Now Hachette do Warhammer collections, and they've got another one coming. They did trial one earlier in the year in February, I believe it was. They have got a new one coming, Stormbringer. So I think I'm going to get that for the kid, because I think, again, it's a good way to sort of build up an army. So that's that's something we're definitely going to look at. But I mean, I'll openly admit, it's not the miniature gaming world and things like that. It's never been something that I was particularly into. I was always aware of it. I used to play Blood Bowl when I was a kid, but beyond that, not really. But it's I just think it's a really decent thing, and it's more social than what a lot of kids are into at the moment. So that, I mean, it's a low tech Fortnite, if you will, because you got to be present. You got to be in a room with people where you're rolling the dice and you're interacting. And I have a friend that owns a very large comic and hobby store in America, and their whole basement, they just host game nights. So Monday nights it'll be D&D, Tuesday nights it'll be Warhammer, Wednesday nights something else, and they fill it out. So people come in, they pay like $5 or whatever it is to take part, but then there's food and drink and things like that, and it's such a nice thing. It's a social event rather than it just all being online. And it's good. Get out the house, go and see people, interact, and I think that's good. I think it's definitely something kids need. So it's something worth taking a look at. If you've got slightly older children, teenagers, it's worth seeing if it's something they'd like, because as I said, it's no different to Fortnite. It's battling is what it is. But there's more of a social aspect to it. You actually interact with people, and that's sadly missing in the world at the moment. But beautiful thing. What have we got coming up? So Titanic has shipped. That's on its way. When it's going to be here, I don't know. It could be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Don't know. Next week, Titanic is turning up next week. So when it's here, it will be up on the channel. Disney Doll's House is due to ship next week. That might be here by the weekend. I'm not holding my breath, but it might be. Route Master will be up on the channel. I have also managed to source, I've actually got them on my desk looking at me, all of the figures. So I've got all of the passengers for my Route Master, which aren't coming with the Agora subscription standard. So I'll be putting those into the bus as well. We have got a double R2-D2 coming up, because we have fallen behind on R2-D2, because I've got a third R2-D2 been shipped that we haven't built. So we've got 2 whole packs we've got to build. COVID sort of buggered that up for me, and the holiday. So we've got a double R2-D2 coming. We will have Titanic coming at some point next week. I don't know when. Route Master will be up on the channel as well. I think that'll be it for next week. The week after that, we will Disney Doll's House and the new R2-D2. I am going to try and get the parachute tower as well, so we might have that up on the channel. Another thing that I have managed to score. Again, this is weird, but it's true. I can crochet. I learned how to crochet years ago. I went through a thing, and I still do, of 1 month skills. So a skill you can teach yourself in 1 month was my big sort of thing. It keeps your mind fresh. And this is what I do. So I know this sounds odd, but it'll be anything. It might be harmonica, it might be crochet, it might be origami, it might be, but it's something I want. Can I teach myself how to do something in 4 weeks? And that's what I do. So I learn these different skills. And one of them that I learned was crochet, and I did crochet a scarf. And I never touched it again. But Hachette have got a crochet collection out of a Disney quilt that looked really nice. And I thought, I'm going to take a shot at that. So I've got it. I've got issue 1 of the Disney crochet. I don't know if it's beyond my my abilities. It might be. But I will do it, and there'll be a video on there. I appreciate it's not for everyone. It's like, yeah, crochet? I'm like, yeah, it's fine, honestly. And it's something that's always cracked me up, because, again, when I have done it in the past, I used to do it on the train and things like that. You know, people look at me going, that's just a weird image. Because I look like the kind of guy that would tear your arm off and beat you with a wet end when I'm out in public. But then I'm sat there crocheting a scarf. But hey, I'm comfortable with who I am and what I'm about, you know? So I'm crafting's crafting, man. And yeah, building's building. Whether I'm using yarn or screwdrivers. So it's a cute thing. It looks nice. I'm going to take a look at it. I don't know if it's something I'm going to be continuing doing. I'm just going to take a shot at it and see how it looks. Because the blanket itself, it makes is gorgeous. And I'm thinking of just buying additional yarn and making 4 or 5 of those blankets at one time. And then once it's finished, gifting them at Christmas. So yeah, that will be coming up as well at some point. We've got Lego reviews from Oscar coming up as well. There are the new minifigure sets. I think we're probably doing those at some point. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. If you're one of the thousands that watch but haven't subscribed yet, come and join our merry band of weirdos, man. We're always happy to have you, and we love hearing from you. If you're working on anything at the moment you'd like to show us, mods or in anything at all, you can send us pics at buildingtheboys@outlook.com. We'd love to see your work. If you're happy for a shot on the channel, we're shot on the channel as well to see what other people are doing, because always love seeing what people are working on. Love it. I'm interested in book nooks at the moment, so if you're making a book nook or anything like that, I'd love to see it. Send it in, show it to us. And that's all for this week. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice, and we will catch you on the next one.